What's up, YouTube friends? My name is Danny Jones, and welcome to Jones Vibes.
Jones Vibes.
First and foremost, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and if you enjoy it, please go ahead and click that like button, and then go ahead and hit subscribe as well as hit that notification bell. That'll keep you up to date when I make more content. And today we are talking about Top Gun Maverick. And if you haven't seen this movie, don't worry, because this review will be spoiler-free. Stop worrying, you silly goose. This is also just a big excuse to talk about Tom Cruise for a little bit. So the original Top Gun came out in 1986, and it wasn't the biggest part of my childhood like it was for some others. But after getting older and watching it, I have to say I appreciate it now so much more, just for what it is. The cast is phenomenal, and there's just something about the feel of the entire thing. It has pretty much everything that you could want out of an action movie, especially an 80s action movie. And the score really sets it apart. The mixture of 80s classics, most notably Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins. Danger Zone, banner. But that mixed with this very distinct kind of aerial, sweeping score makes for an awesome vibe. I guess let's just say the music wasn't very plain. And if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest doing so before you watch this new one. Although you don't have to, technically. They do a pretty good job at catching you up to speed. No pun. But Tom Cruise was a big part of my childhood, and deservedly so. Time and time again, he has proved that he is the best movie action hero. Sorry, Keanu. And Arnold, what are you doing here? But he is, and it's quite literally been taken to new heights over the past, 15 years. If you haven't been through the Mission Impossible movies, I highly recommend doing so. Right now. Seriously. Right now. And I know I sound amped, but I'm to the point where I'm about to say that this guy is my favorite actor. He's insane, and his stunts are the most daring and unbelievable things that I've ever witnessed on the big screen. Because he does all of them himself. He actually is a pilot. He actually is riding that motorcycle. He actually is flying that helicopter. And boy, oh boy, can he run. But kind of just digging in, Jerry Bruckheimer is back as one of the producers for the film. And this movie is actually directed by Joseph Kosinski. He directed Tron Legacy, which was okay. The CGI on Jeff Bridges' face kind of ruined it for me. Daft Punk was dope though. But as for this movie, he nailed it. And there's also some other notables in the cast that we should talk about. First off, we have Jennifer Connelly, and she plays Penny Benjamin. And she's not brand new. She actually was mentioned a couple times in the original as a love interest of Maverick's, in the past, I think. So that does make her a legacy character. But then we have Miles Teller, and he plays Rooster, Goose's son. And aside from Whiplash, this is probably my favorite performance of his career so far. He has emotional moments, he has funny moments, and truly just embodies this character. He's also got that Miami Vice kind of style going on in his civilian clothes. Hawaiian shirts with the shades, just clean, bro. But then we have John Hamm playing Vice Admiral Bo Cyclone Simpson. And I just want to shout him out because it's always good to see him. But yeah, and then obviously we have Maverick. And as for my initial reaction, straight out of the theater, was that this movie was absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. I thought it would be good, but not this good. And honestly, something that helped a lot was, the audience that we saw it with ruled. Just a bunch of middle-aged people that were just amped to be there. And it had a sense of humor, too. I found myself laughing really hard at a couple parts. And this isn't spoiling much, but it starts with the same montage as the original. We got the title card, Top Gun, and Danger Zone, and all these, naval officers, working on jets and stuff. But that was cool. And I also wanted to bring up, if you're not familiar, Top Gun is a nickname for what started as the United States Navy Fighter Weapons School. Top Gun is just a little shorter. But the original movie is based on Maverick going through this program. And so in this, we catch up with him about 30 years later, and he's been called back to train some of Top Gun's best pilots, basically a batch of the best pilots in the world, for a daring mission that almost seems impossible, an impossible mission. And these young pilots are awesome, and so are all their cool call signs. I especially loved Hangman, played by Glenn Powell, and he was kind of like the new Iceman, and it worked for me. But Rooster is a part of this batch, and I really like the relationship between him and Maverick. Like, there's a few different ways that this script could have gone, and I'm happy that they landed here. There's this kind of underlying tension between the two, and I'm not going to really describe it, but it really digs at Maverick, and he's still kind of processing the grief of losing Goose. It was really well played. And also, they made it Maverick's movie. Like, he wasn't just like the side character, old legacy teacher coming in. This was a sequel, and we just caught up with the main character again. And it wouldn't be Top Gun without Iceman, and in the trailers, we see a picture of him, and I don't know if you know, but Val Kilmer did have throat cancer, so during the filming of this, he couldn't talk so much. But man, oh man, I love Val Kilmer so much. He also just had this like crazy AI surgery thing too, so apparently he can talk now, but with like crazy new technology. I don't know. It's revolutionary. But anyway, I want to get to what I really want to talk about here, and it's the fighter jet stuff. Alongside real pilots, we had Super Hornet F-18s, we had F-14s, we had this cast that, like I mentioned, they were trained. They were trained to endure what a real pilot would go through. And they were actually filmed in jets for this movie. And it's some of the wildest and groundbreaking stuff. This is why you have to see it on a big screen. The ducking and diving sound effects like shwoom, foom. And there's this scene, I think they only play like half of it in the trailer, but it's Maverick and he's taking off from an air hangar in the ocean, and it stays with him the whole time as he lifts off, and you get that perspective and feel the weight of everything. It was so insanely thrilling. I was like, oh! And I will say that the last 45 minutes of this thing are dynamite. Maverick does some insane flying and things actually get really intense. And I just love how you gain a little bit of perspective into these like tactical operations that happen. It's mind-blowing. It's hard to even comprehend that there's people out there that can do these things. And I can't really get too much more into things without fully spoiling the movie, but I just want to say that I am thankful for movies like this. I talked a little bit about this in my Ambulance review, just talking about big blockbusters and how we're kind of missing them, but this is why we go to the movies, for a special ride like this, and to see Tom just keep cruising. I love how passionate he is for film, and how passionate he is about the film audiences. You can tell that a lot of heart went into this thing, and that mixed with some humor and some insane action made for a movie that I won't forget. So, yeah, and I would love to hear what you thought about it if you've seen it, and if you haven't seen it, what you're looking forward to. What are your thoughts on the original? Have you seen the original? What do you think of Tom Cruise? I don't expect everyone to love him as much as I do, but you should. Also, if you enjoyed this review, please go ahead and click that like button for me. That helps me get seen by more people just like you, as well as click that subscribe button. I would love to have you be a part of this Jones Vibes community. You can also find me on social media at Jones Vibes Only, and yeah, that was Top Gun Maverick. I hope all of you are safe, happy, and healthy, and I will see you next time.